What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to history. We are making history today. I've been teasing it over the last couple episodes of Flashback Pinks. Things have kind of came all to fruition for us to make Madden 20 franchise history. This is an exciting day for me. I haven't been this excited since like the beginning of a Madden when you start your brand new franchise. Like when we started the Raiders franchise in Madden 20, or when we did, you know, the Bills moving to Toronto in Madden 19. Like that opening episode or two, those level of excitement shouldn't be happening at like the end of May. You know, in just a couple weeks time, we're going to start getting news about Madden 21. This is like a dead period if you are a Madden franchise player for the previous version of the game. But here we are, through the power of Madden on PC, through the power of mods, through the power of a phenomenal modding team, which I'm giving 100% full credit for them. Host, Magic Ty Whistler, CRBiv14, all their information is in the description below. Go support them. They are what made this thing entirely possible. You can see on the back right there, it's Magnum Slater. We are about to put the final cherry on top of Season 1 of Flashback Pink Slips here in Madden 20 with the Houston Oilers. We got a Super Bowl. We made a freakishly good team. But it's time to get our next challenge. It's time to move on. And what better way to move on than to relocate a team, right? To relocate a team. And relocation has been the exact same, copy and paste, same team, same city, same colors, same jerseys for the last 6 years, 7 years. It's a slap in the face to those of us that are diehards in the Madden franchise community. So what I said is enough is enough. I want to create my own team. I know that you can see for like the PC mods and they do the college football mods. You can make your own team in this game. I just need to find some dudes that can help me make my vision a reality. And that is exactly what we have done. I have essentially, here in Madden 20, created a brand new team from scratch. And that is what we're going to do. And that is what is going to be the premiere series on this YouTube channel all the way up until Madden 21 releases. So without further ado, we're going to retire, we're going to end the Houston Oilers, and let's get into Season 2 of Flashback Pink Slips. What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to today's video where I am super excited to show you one of my favorite features in franchise mode. I think in reality it's probably the best feature in franchise mode because it gives the mode the most life possible, it gives you the most creativity possible, and that is relocating a franchise.
Well, enough is enough, and it's time for a change.
Money I'm spending, I'm out and I'm shopping. You talking that shit when you talking and talking. Look at my options, look at me dropping. Ass in the game, like who are you stopping? Not me, not me, not never. Not me, not me, not never. Not me, not me, not never. I'm way too clever. Look at the kid, Mr. Consistent, I'm doing it big. Way too persistent on taking your bitch. Here comes a monster scare.
Welcome to Hawaii. The Hawaii Warriors. The year is 2007. Chip Kelly got hired away from Oregon, from being their OC, revolutionary offensive mind from the very small New Hampshire football program, got paid a lot of money to come to Oregon. We had to immediately buy him out. As you can see, with that gold chain, Chip Kelly is flexing. But once he found out he'd come to Hawaii, he got the floral print. He's, everyone knows Chip Kelly, Andy Reid. They're two peas of a pod, and Chip Kelly's like, well, if we're gonna have permanent residents in Hawaii, we might as well look like Andy Reid at the Pro Bowl 24/7. So we have Chip Kelly bringing his revolutionary Oregon high-paced air raid spread option offense to the NFL for the 2007 regular season. Look at it. Let's meet the team. Let's meet where the team's at. But before I let you know what's going on with the team where we are right now, how did we get to where we are? There was two moves, as we well knew from the last episode. We were all behind the scenes, relocating, adjusting, getting everything right for Hawaii. But I wasn't just putting them on autopilot mode. Moving to Hawaii is a big, earth-shattering announcement to a lot of players in the National Football League. I mean, the NFL has loved Hawaii forever. That's why the Pro Bowl is at Aloha Stadium every year, because it's such a great venue. They have a very underrated football culture, and some of the best players, some of the best prospects, some of the best players in the NFL are itching at the bit to play for Hawaii, to represent their culture. So, behind the scenes, this is what you didn't see while we're doing the relocation process. They already knew that they're going to be moving Jacksonville to Hawaii. That was already made. We didn't want the cat to get out of the bag. We had pick 6 from the Jags being awful, and understanding the culture, understanding how big of a splash we needed to make on the island. There was a very easy pick to make in the first round. And while you had the electrifying player Reggie Bush and Vince Young from that Rose Bowl, Matt Leinart at quarterback, Jay Cutler, there's one guy that was as obvious of a pick as we could make, and that is Haloti Ngata, D-tackle from Oregon. 80, hidden dev, number 1 in true talent. While it may be on the face value, everyone thinks everything is fine in Jacksonville. We're going to Hawaii, and the first true sneak peek pick of the Hawaii Warriors, Haloti Ngata. So as we start the game, start season 2 of Flashback Pink Slips with the worst roster in the game, as it's what we wanted. It's the challenge we wanted. I wanted to get at least 2 Polynesian players that would fit the culture that we're trying to change, that we're trying to, expand to a different demographic of football players. So we drafted Haloti Ngata. We traded for Troy Polamalu, who wanted to force his way out of Baltimore anyways. He wanted to leave, so we had to pay top dollar. We got rid of our starting quarterback in David Garrard, who did a bunch of promotional work for the Warriors. I'm sure that went over well. We had to get rid of Reggie Wayne, one of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. We had to get rid of Marcus Stroud, the heart of the center of that old Jacksonville Jaguar defense with John Henderson. And we were able to still pull in Troy Polamalu along with Haloti Ngata, the 2 faces of this franchise. Look at the rest of the roster. We have J.P. Loshman. I'm pretty sure he was a former first-round pick out of Tulane. You might remember him from the Buffalo Bills. Is he going to really be our long-term starter? Well, he does have a cannon of an arm. 96 throw power. Look at those beautiful uniforms. Someone already said they look too much like USC. Just wait. If you think I only have one set of uniforms, you are insane, young man. That's all I could say. We got J.P. Loshman here. Running backs, we got Rudy Johnson. He actually had like a couple solid years, I think, with the Cincinnati Bengals, if I had to guess. We have Ernest Graham out of Florida, a little bit more of a power back. Again, it is what it is. It's not a particularly... We got Josh Cribbs, one of the best return man, offers some deep threat ability, but was never really known for a receiver. Like you see with a 73 catching, his route running is particularly garbage, but he's an electrifying special teams player. We have McCarron, who we had on the Oilers. Like I said, some of those players will be familiar, and we'll get to that in a sec. We get Ashley Lee he went to school in Hawaii and actually kind of fits Pink Slips to a little bit. 77 overall, deep threat, 93 speed, 94 acceleration. He is going to be our wide receiver 1 after we did trade Reggie Wayne away. We actually are pretty set at tight end. We got Manu Maluyuna, whatever. But yeah, fits the team, fits the culture. We got Delaney Walker. That was the other big pick. I think we only made 2 big picks in that draft. We got Haloti Ngata, and then I got Delaney Walker late. 78 superstar dev. Obviously, a little bit of a niche tight end, not your prototypical size, 6'2", 248. but he's going to be outstanding and probably our best receiving threat. We have Chris Cooley. I remember he was doing this thing for the Washington Redskins back in the day. He's another tight end. So we're going to be able to run 2 tight end sets for sure, so we can carry that over. I mean, we tried to do that a little bit with the Oilers with Jason Witten and Shannon Sharp. So we will be able to have a little bit of that here with our tight end weapons. Offensive line is not good. We got Brad Meester coming over from the Jacksonville Jaguar tenure. We're trying to get as many Polynesian players that we could that want to come. We're not going to force the issue. We're not going to have a hidden agenda, but it's clear that if Hawaii got awarded a National Football League team, there's going to be people that understand what that can mean to all Polynesian people across the world, across different countries, just having, people, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to overstep my bit. You know what I'm trying to do here. And I'm not going to force the issue. It's not like every year we're going to draft any Polynesian player and overreach them. But when there's free agents, when there's stuff like that, they're going to flock. They're going to flock to Hawaii and join what Chip Kelly is trying to build here. We have Hartwig, and actually I think both these players played for us in Houston as an Oiler. Right guard, we have Tony Fonoti. Actually, a really solid-looking guard out of Nebraska, 80 overall. Right tackle, not good. So really outside of, Meester, and he's 30. Fonoti is our best lineman by a considerable amount. Need a lot of work for the draft to build up that offensive line. Defensively, we have Chris Clemens. I remember for the Philadelphia Eagles in real life, he did like a choke slam against the Seahawks. It was unreal. He is a 71 star dev, so there is some upside there. Right defensive end, we have Matt Roth. He's young, 70, normal dev. Just solid rotational guy. Inside, we were able to retain the services of John Henderson. So we started Pink Slips with the Houston Oilers, and we had Albert Ainsworth. So at least when we move to a new team, it stays the same. John Henderson said, I love the warm weather of Hawaii. He did not want to force a trade out. 91 superstar. He is 28. He's getting up there in age a little bit, but he is dominant. One of the scariest players I've ever seen in the National Football League. We have Alodi Nata, who is a superstar X Factor. He was the #1 player from that draft last season, the 06 draft. And, legend. Absolute legend. And he's going to be one of the focal parts of this team, absolutely. We have Luther Ellis, another player from Hawaii, veteran, did his thing for the Detroit Lions. I think that's where he's most known for playing. He's a veteran at this point, but, brings some veteran leadership for sure. Linebacking core, we got Sam Williams, Matt McCoy, former Philadelphia Eagle. He was like a depth linebacker. Wally Rainier gets a lot of time. He's very old. He's 30. But I remember for the Jags, man, he has been a guy that's getting a lot of stats. Look at that. The number in production has been there for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Again, Antonio Pierce, who actually used to play for us on the Oilers as well. Ages aren't great, though, for the linebacking core, for sure, across the board. Sermon, another player, star dev, played for us for the Houston Oilers. Looking at the secondary, we have Dalton O'Neill, another player that at once upon a time played for us at Houston Oilers. He is a superstar dev, but he's 30, and he's regressed. I think he regressed 4 points this offseason, which is less than ideal. We have Pac-Man Jones, who does bring some off-the-field stuff for sure. Another guy that's dangerous to return, man. But there's going to be some upside there. And hopefully become a big-time playmaker for us down the stretch. We got Sammy Davis, some good speed. I mean, the secondary, the corners, the secondary in general is probably the strength of this team. We have Marlon McCree, 76. He is 30, but brings a star dev. He's solid. And then, of course, Troy Polamalu, who, much like Haloti Nata, is going to be one of the faces of this team, especially in its early stages. We don't have anyone on special teams, but we do have a lot of draft picks. We have the 4th and 5th pick here in the 2007 NFL Draft. God, I hope Calvin Johnson falls to us. That would be sensational. We also have 3 second-round picks, 3 third-round picks, 2 fourths, 3 fifths, and a 6th. So we have a lot of picks to try and at least get a good start at building up this roster. But before we do go any further, we need to get our 6 captains. There's 5 or 6 captains. We got to get our team captains. These are players that are going to be untouchable, win, lose, or draw here in Madden. And it's going to be simple for Pink Slips. We usually go with our highest overall. So we're definitely going to have John Henderson be one of our captains. We're going to have Troy Polamalu be one of our captains. We're going to have Haloti Nata be one of our captains. Now, here's where things get a little interesting. Now is where you guys start to deviate a little bit. Don't really want a lineman, right? So I think Pac-Man Jones should also be one of our team captains. Hopefully that added responsibility will keep him on the straight and narrow for his career. And I also think we need to give Delaney Walker one of our team captain spots, as he is probably, in terms of a skill position, the guy with the most upside on this roster. So I think we still have one more captain spot. This one's a little tough. I mean, who has some upside to get that final captaincy spot? I think it needs to... I mean, it could be Chris Cooley for sure. It's either Chris Cooley or Ashley Lee. I think because Ashley Lee from Hawaii, went to school there. He is... I don't... Yeah, we'll make it Ashley Lee. He'll be our final team captain. I don't want two of my tight ends being my team captain. So Ashley Lee, the speedster out of Hawaii, will be our final team captain. These are our untouchables. These are guys that will not be stolen away from us, as we inevitably probably lose a lot of games early on, as we are a brand new franchise. And a lot of these guys, I mean, remember when Chip Kelly went to the Philadelphia Eagles? There's a transitioning period. Go to that up-tempo, fast-paced offense. Might be some scheme changes. Guys are going to take some bit to adjust, to acclimate themselves to the new Chip Kelly culture that he's going to try to establish here in Hawaii. But once we get it rolling, once we start building up our roster, especially after a draft that's coming up, that we have a whole lot of draft picks to make a lot of smart investments, this is going to be one hell of a team to play for, one hell of a team to watch. So without further ado, let's get into free agency. So looking at free agency, there actually are some very interesting names who found themselves now available. Antoine Winfield, formerly of the Oilers. We have Warren Sapp, Larry Allen, like veterans, right? John Lynch, Trey Thomas. But there are some really, really good young franchise players. Terrell Suggs is there, especially on the defense. Peanut Tillman is available. We got OCU Manura, very tough. Larry Johnson, one of the best running backs from this area. Very tough not to just go out there and jump, but we do know, and Pink Slips generally, we don't want to do our business through free agency. It kind of goes against everything this series is about. But when you're a bad team like us, you know, you want to pick your shots. You want to make sure you bring the right kind of talent in. So I have three free agents. We have first up Donnie Jones, Bag of Bones Jones, was a punter for the Philadelphia Eagles when they won the Super Bowl. But he's 25, 76 star dev. I think a nice young punter we can kind of build around. We have Lusaka Polite. I remember he was an awesome power back for the Miami Dolphins. I think it was during the Wildcat years. But either way, just bringing a nice little power back. And then for the quarterback spot, obviously, we don't know what the draft's going to hold. I could not tell you off the top of my head what quarterbacks are in that 07 draft after a guy that we're definitely going to avoid in Jamarcus Russell. So why not bring in Sex Rex Grossman in? Just even competition between him and JP Losman. I remember how we started with the Oilers, man. We had Ryan Leaf, Quincy Carr, like a bunch of guys, middle of the park quarterbacks, until we could find our identity on offense. I think that's going to be the case here today. I did think about Jeff Garcia. I love Jeff Garcia, but that X Factor ability, maybe just a little too overpowered. Even though it'd be a year, I don't want, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? This is the optics of it, starting with a superstar X Factor quarterback. It's just a little too much, which sucks, because if it was literally even a superstar, I would most likely just try to bring in Jeff Garcia for a year, because he's 37. He's most likely going to retire in a year. But, looking at the rest of the quarterbacks, Matt Castle's there. He's 25. He's a star dev. There could be some upside there as well to make him a backup. Tommy Maddox, XFL MVP. But I think just getting Grossman, he's 27, 69. There's still some room to grow there. He will be our lone QB. But again, we could find someone in the draft that instantly walks in and becomes our day one starter. But that's where I'm thinking with free agency here. Just kind of go under the radar, get a punter, get a fullback, get spots so we don't need much depth. We just need a starter. And then with all of our draft picks, try to hit home runs and build this team into a team that's not going to get blown out every single game in that 07 season. Very quick primer before we get into the draft. We landed all three of our free agency targets, but there's no other bids, so you should know that. But it's not looking good. I mean, we do have two high picks, two top 10 picks, but, there's one true guy. Everyone's going to want this guy, and he should go first overall, which is a damn shame. But the fallout from that is we got Rex Grossman, JP Losman, battling for QB. You're not burning a first-round pick on Jamarcus or Brady Quinn. Then you get to the next tier. Like, when you're trying to find value for quarterbacks this season, horrible. There's absolutely, like, Matt Moore. We get Zabransky, the Eiffel Tower from Boise State, the greatest football game I've ever seen. Chris Leak was really good. I mean, this is just a horrific draft class if you need a quarterback, which we definitely do. So, I mean, if it comes a scenario where Jamarcus Russell, Brady Quinn are still there in the 3rd, 4th round, maybe we try a little bit of a reclamation project. Maybe we try to turn their career around. But we're not going to spend a premier pick on guys that we know aren't particularly good. A lot of running back. We do need a new running back. Hell yeah, if we can get an AP or a Marshawn Lynch. Absolutely. You look at wide receiver. Even though these guys I've read, Ted Ginn brings speed. Dwayne Bowe was solid. You got Meacham, Jacoby Jones, James Jones. It's not a brutal draft, and I think there's going to be a lot of talent, and hopefully when we have a lot of 2nd and 3rd rounds, day 2, that's really where we're going to make or break this team for the next season. But just needed to show you that quarterbacks kind of suck this year. Quick look at some of the free agents here. We know who's within our division: the Marshalls, Oilers, and the Colts. And Warren Sapp's going to the Marshalls. You got Larry Allen going to the Colts. Kurt Warner's doing his thing for them. T. Sizzle's going to the Marshalls. Peanut Tillman going to the Chiefs. There's just a lot of talent coming back into this division, which is definitely annoying. Okay, for the draft, we might as well bring it to you live. See the orders. I guarantee Calvin Johnson's going first to the Raiders. Calvin Johnson is going to be a Raider, and he is 82 right out the gate. Green Bay Packers follow it up by getting Joe Thomas, franchise tackle. All right, 2 players that were definitely top of our list, already off the board. Luckily, New England gets Levi Brown, the right tackle from Penn State. Definitely not on our board. So we have a 4 and a 5 right away to get our pick of the litter here. We now control the draft board. All right, let's not mess this up. Okay, so we have our big board set and 2 picks back to back. And here's kind of where I'm thinking. So we might as well highlight the 1st round grade players that we currently have and the rules. You should know the rules by now on how drafting works in Pink Slips. We have modified it a little bit, but it's easy. If we want to draft a player at any point, we go by their true talent grade, which is that little diamond there. If I want Bushrod, who's supposed to go in the 4th round, but if I want him, because he's a 2nd round talent, I have to draft him in the 2nd round. Same thing with Brent Selleck. I can't just wait to the 6th round to get the Eagles legend. I'm going to have to draft him in the 3rd round. But we don't have to worry about any of that too much right now because we have 1st round picks. So here's the board as it stands for the 1st round. We got Paul Posluszny, Ben Grubbs, Leon Hall, LaRon Landry, Reggie Nelson, Eric Weddle. That makes the bottom tier. Just a position we don't really need right now. And I would argue the depth is there in this draft. We have Ryan Khalil at center, Joe Staley at tackle. We could definitely continue to build this offensive line. The offensive line is not particularly good. We have a right guard, in all honesty. We have a right guard. We need a center. We need both tackles. You can't go wrong with either one of those picks. Hopefully, one of them slips to the 2nd round. We don't need a tight end, even though I got a full credit G-Reg with the 3rd leg. I love Greg Olson. We don't need a tight end, but I had to put him up here. We have Marshall Yanda, who would be an outstanding pick if he's still available. It's just when you have the Lynch, AP, Patrick Willis, Darrell Reeves of the world, you got to get one. And now that we have picks 1 and 2 back-to-back, I think we take our chances and hoping that one of Adrian Peterson or Marshawn Lynch is still there in the 2nd round. Because, we have basically, look at it this way. We have 1 corner that we like. We have 1 middle linebacker that we like. And there's 2 running backs. So take your chances with the 2 running backs. That something would still be available there. So without further ado, at pick 4 of the 2007 NFL Draft, the Hawaii Warriors select Darrell Reeves, corner from Pittsburgh. Number 3 in true talent, 80 overall, hidden dev trait. We got sensational speed, sensational coverage, and what better player for out in the island than Reeves Island? All right, for our next pick, I had to go to Twitter. It's just, I can't make the right decision. I think, it is between Adrian Peterson and Patrick Willis. Patrick Willis, I was going to go Patrick Willis, but there's a chance we can get a linebacker. The depth at linebacker is a little bit better than the depth here because, you get Ahmad Bradshaw, Pierre Thomas, role players. And obviously, you have 2 generational running backs here, Adrian Peterson and Marshawn Lynch. But if we miss on a linebacker, I mean, Barnes looks okay. Justin Durant, solid. I mean, he had a really good career for the... and then we got another second-round great linebacker, Diossi. I think Durant played for the Cowboys. Diossi played for the Giants. Bishop. I mean, I just feel like there's maybe a little bit more depth to the linebackers if we don't go Patrick Willis versus the depth at running back if we don't go an Adrian Peterson or a Marshall Lynch. Now, I just went to Twitter. I feel like I would have went probably Patrick Willis. But we already got a defensive player in Darrelle Revis. How about get someone that we can maybe make a focal point of the offense? We're not going to have a quarterback. So that being said, and you guys voted it on Twitter, Adrian Peterson will be our selection at pick 5 in the first round of the 2007 draft. 74 overall, number 7 in true talent. We got him at pick 5. You just know Patrick Willis probably would have maybe been a slightly better player. But he's hidden dev. We got 93 speed, 95 accelerated. I mean, this is vintage AP, beast mode AP. Welcome to Hawaii, brother. Phenomenal. As we picked, we got back-to-back 4 and 5 in the second round. Justin Durant, the linebacker that we definitely would have targeted, went right before we picked. That's annoying. Again, look, like someone like Eric Weddle slipping, but we can't pick because he's first-round talent. So now we're here in the second round. Let's really kind of look at our draft board here. We're going to have to miss out on Yonda. Yonda was still there. I mean, for the culture, we might as well get Satele. Samson Satele. I remember he got drafted by the Raiders. He was actually pretty solid. So we'll bring him in. Fits what we're trying to big. Number 43, we got him at 36. 68 hidden dev out of Hawaii. We'll go with the local guy. We got the rest of the picks we could potentially make in the second round. We got Usama Young, Willie Gay, Zach Diossi there at linebacker, Paul Soliai, D-tackle. I mean, obviously, we're trying to fit the culture, but we already have enough D-tackles. It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense there. We're built. D-Enzo, I can definitely open my mind up to defensive end. We got Charles Johnson and Lamar Woodley. Johnson was really, really solid for the Carolina Panthers. Brian Robinson also pretty decent, and he's actually a scheme fit. Lamar Woodley did his thing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't know. Bushrod, we continue just to go hammer out in the O-line. Bring in Bushrod, be a left tackle for us. Manny Ramirez there. Let's build our O-line up. Let's get Bushrod in. 69, number 40. Hidden dev as well. We're sitting here now in the fourth round. Why not? Why not? Oh, he's awful. Well, there we go. He's on the roster. He's on the roster. Here's our first draft class as the Hawaii Warriors to kick off Season 2 of Flashback Pink Slips. We got Darrelle Revis, Adrian Peterson, Samson Satele, Jamon Bushrod, and then from after that, the fallout, we got Brian Robinson, defensive end out of Texas, 66 hidden dev. We got Deshaun Golson, hard-hitting free safety to complement Troy Polamalu out of Washington, 66 with a hidden dev. We got Antoine Barnes, 65 normal linebacker. We got Doug Free, 66 tackle, played a lot of his career with the Dallas Cowboys. Why not? Just see what we could do. We got Jamarcus Russell, the fall from grace, drafted where he probably should have been drafted in the first place. Not high by the Raiders, but here, developmental quarterback. He's a cannon of an arm. That's about it. But you know why this makes sense? Because Chip Kelly has that arrogance about him that he can fix anyone. As long as you can conform to his system, he can make you amazing. And this makes a whole lot of sense here. So Jamarcus Russell here in the fourth round. We got Nick Roach, 64 depth linebacker. We got Ahmad Bradshaw, 62 with a hidden dev. He was really good for the New York Giants. We got Steve Breston, only 57. He was a 1,000-yard receiver with the Arizona Cardinals. I thought he'd be way better than this, but again, every time I can get duped. I can get duped and make it a pick. So 57 there. I don't know who this guy is, but we didn't have anyone in the sixth round that we could pick. So I just said, all right, we need another tight end. He actually hit it to be a 61. We got Pierre Thomas, who you should remember from his time with the New Orleans Saints, 60 hidden dev. And we finished up the draft by bringing in Matt Moore, quarterback. It was very surprising. He was a face scan But, you know, hey, he has more staying power and all said and done than Jamarcus Russell had. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can actually find a way to stick on a roster that already has J.P. Lossman and Rex Grossman. But there's our first draft. Very solid draft. Got some great dev traits. And at the very least, 2 future superstar players that probably need to be getting some captain patches so we don't have any chance of risking them and losing them at any point in the upcoming season. Look at the rest of the NFL, at least for the first round. Calvin Johnson went to the Raiders. Joe Thomas to the Packers. Ted Ginn to the Jets. We got Patrick Willis to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Laron Landry, the biggest arms in football, to the Baltimore Ravens. Leon Hall to the Saints. Reggie Nelson going to the Marshals. Marshawn Lynch going to the Redskins. We got Joe Staley going to the Broncos. Dwayne Breaux to the Eagles. Paul Plzowski to the Giants. Greg Olsen to the Minnesota Vikings. Nice draft for the Vikings. Eric Weddle to the Cleveland Browns. Ryan Khalil to the Arizona Cardinals. In terms of like big players, that's probably about. I mean, there's some solid players. Not to throw it. Marshall Yanda. He's probably the last big one to drop to the New Orleans Saints. Who did the Saints? Didn't they get someone else? Leon Hall and Marshall Yanda. Great draft for the New Orleans Saints here. Getting a really, really solid corner. Leon Hall played very well at a very high level for a long time. And then obviously Marshall Yanda, probably a future Hall of Famer on the offensive line. So that is the fallout from the 2007 NFL Draft. So there you have it, fellas. That's it. That is the offseason transitioning into the Hawaii Warriors, our draft, our free agency. And here's Chip Kelly's team that we're going to bring in to the 2007 regular season. We got Rex Grossman right now, will be our starter, but it's going to be one hell of a preseason to see who can really establish themselves as our long-term starter. Who's going to fit Chip Kelly's offense the best could be a great way to put it. We have Adrian Peterson as our running back there. God, he's going to be an absolute monster. Behind that, who's going to be the next running back, though? Because we're probably going to have to run the ball a lot. And luckily, that's a good meta in Madden 20. Rudy Johnson, we got Ahmad Bradshaw, Ernest Graham, also Pierre Thomas. At wide receiver, not a lot of star power. Josh Cobbs, more of a special teamer. Least solid, height, weight, speed for sure. But in terms of upside, I don't think we have a lot of guys there. Luckily, we have 2 really, really solid tight ends, Delaney Walker and Chris Cooley. And we should be having a lot of 2 tight ends on the field to run the ball. When we do throw it, these 2 guys are probably going to be our target 1A and 1B. Offensive line, Bushrod, Satelli, and Doug Free. All will be new starters to go with Fonity and Brad Meester. Flipping to the defense, the front 4 is upside. John Henderson, Nata, Beast. We got Brian Robinson and Chris Clemens will be our defensive ends. Linebacking core, we got Antonio Pierce, Rayner, and Green. Maybe we could go Sermon. I like Sermon a little bit more because we had him in Houston, so we'll go with the familiarity. Troy Polamalu, the face of the defense. McCree, we got Deshaun Golson, who's got to work his way up from special teams. The secondary, Delta O'Neal. We're going to move Pac-Man Jones back into the slot. And Revis, we might as well make him CB1. Darrell Revis, we need this man to be an absolute monster. He needs to take the game over. He needs to become a guy that gets right out the gate, 4 or 5 interceptions every single season. Special teams, Bag of Bones Jones, still need to find a kicker. Let's get a kicker. Let's finish this video up by signing straight up a kicker. Who is the best kicker available? Well, okay. We'll just grab Mason Crosby. There we go. So that is going to be your team. We'll be back very quickly. This video originally was going to come out Sunday, but it's way too long for me to just showcase my creative team, my custom team. So you guys are probably watching this on Monday, Tuesday, probably Wednesday. We'll have the full highlights and news and breakdown from those 4 preseason games against the Bengals, Bills, Browns, and Broncos. A lot of B's. And then we'll get well into Season 2 of Flashback Pink Slips. So I hope you guys did enjoy. Please, please, please smash that like button if you did enjoy this. The likes help my video in the old YouTube search so it doesn't come up as like the 80th video when you type in Madden 20. I would very appreciate that. And subscribe if it's your first time stopping by. And until next time, it's C4 and Chip Kelly saying peace out.